Even though Sigma males look tough on the outside, like nothing can bother them, they actually have many things that really annoy them. These guys might seem calm and unfazed most of the time, but don't be fooled. They're not robots. They just hide their feelings really well. So what gets under their skin? Some of these things might surprise you, while others might make perfect sense. So let's dive in and see 6 things that really annoy Sigma males. Number 1. Boring environments with no escape. If you're a Sigma, this might be a no-brainer for you. Think about sitting in a boring room where nothing interesting is happening, and you feel trapped. It's like being in a waiting room for a dentist appointment that never ends. It's not that Sigma men can't handle boredom, but being stuck in a monotonous environment with no way out is pure torture. When everything around them is repetitive and lacks any kind of stimulation, it feels like time slows down and every minute drags on. This vibe can pop up anywhere, be it a monotonous office, a badly planned event, or even a friend's house where nothing is going on. When the energy is flat and conversations circle around the same old topics, it's hard to stay focused or engage. The world is filled with countless wonders, and being stuck in a tedious environment makes it feel even more unbearable. The urge to flee becomes almost overwhelming. Sigma males naturally crave a little thrill, a burst of creativity, or simply something that ignites their curiosity. Without these elements, boredom settles in, bringing with it a weight that can affect mood and motivation. They enjoy thought-provoking discussions and spontaneous adventures, so they often find it tough to keep their spirits high in lifeless surroundings. In a situation like this, watching the clock might become a new sport, where just passing the time feels like the ultimate challenge. The desire for quick fixes like scrolling through a phone or daydreaming about exciting plans can become strong coping mechanisms. But these tricks only work for so long before the restlessness returns full force, making it clear that it's time to find a way out. Boredom doesn't sit well with Sigma males, and it's at the top of their list of things that really annoy them. Number 2. Those trying to change their quiet nature. Unfortunately, some people have a habit of pushing others to be more outgoing. This can feel like an invasion to Sigma males. Being reserved is a natural part of their personality, and they find it irritating when others try to change that. When someone repeatedly suggests they should be louder or more sociable, it can be really annoying. It's like asking the cat to act like a dog, totally unnecessary. Being quiet doesn't mean there's something wrong. It can actually be a source of strength. Sigma men are just wired to observe, think, and connect in ways that don't need a spotlight. There's beauty in listening more than talking, in enjoying moments of silence rather than filling them with chatter. When others try to poke and prod at this quiet nature, it comes off as dismissive, suggesting that being yourself isn't good enough. This pressure to fit into a louder, more boisterous mold can be exhausting. Constantly having to prove that you can be fun or exciting just because you are not the loudest one in the room is a heavy burden. Just because someone isn't the life of the party doesn't mean they don't have a ton of interesting thoughts or stories to share. It's frustrating when people overlook the rich inner life for the sake of social norms. The real annoyance comes when others insist that being quiet is somehow lacking. It's like saying there's only one way to be a person and all other ways need fixing. It's not fair or accurate. Being quiet is not a flaw. It's just a different way of being. And when others can't accept that, it's definitely one of the things that really annoy Sigma males. Number 3. Unsolicited advice from know-it-alls. When it comes to advice, there's a big difference between being helpful and just being annoying. Unsolicited advice from self-proclaimed experts can really get under a Sigma man's skin. It's like someone crashing a party that wasn't even invited. You're just trying to do your own thing, and suddenly someone swoops in with their better ideas about how to do it. This kind of advice often feels more like a judgment than real help. When someone jumps in with tips about what you should do or how you should act without being asked, it can come off as patronizing. The annoying part is that these advice givers rarely stop to consider whether you even asked for their input. They often don't know the full story or understand how hard you've worked to get where you are. Just because someone thinks they've got all the answers doesn't mean their advice is relevant or useful. It's frustrating to have someone stand over your shoulder, telling you what you should be doing, especially when you have a plan in mind. This situation can be even worse when the advice is based on outdated opinions or personal biases. Sigma males might be looking for fresh ideas and perspectives, but instead, they get the same old cliches. When someone tries to push their narrow-minded views onto you without even considering yours, it can feel like a slap in the face. What's really bothersome is that this unsolicited advice can create unnecessary pressure. That's not just annoying, it's downright irritating. Number 4. People who constantly seek attention or validation. You know the type, always posting about their latest achievements, fishing for compliments, or dominating conversations by turning everything back to themselves. It's like a loud car alarm that never shuts off, making it hard to focus on anything else. Getting attention is totally normal. We all want to feel appreciated. But there's a point where it crosses over into needy territory. Sigma males get pretty tired of being around people who constantly need a pat on the back or reassurance. Conversations quickly lose their value when they're all about one person's quest for validation. When you're trying to share a story or even just make a point, and they jump in, turning it back to themselves, it feels dismissive. It's not just annoying, it's disrespectful. It's also hard to have any real connection with someone who seems more interested in their reflection than in real interactions. When a person thrives on constant praise, they miss out on the subtleties of friendships and relationships. The constant need for attention can push others away, creating an invisible barrier that makes everything feel shallow. Being around attention seekers can feel like being on a never-ending roller coaster ride without any thrill, just looping around the same boring track. You start to wonder if they're capable of listening, or if they even care about what you say. Number 5. Micromanagement at work or in relationships. Micromanagement is like having someone constantly looking over your shoulder, nitpicking every little thing you do. This not only stifles creativity, but also undermines confidence. When someone feels like they can't make decisions without checking in, it creates a heavy cloud of pressure that can suck the fun right out of the job or the relationship. At work, micromanagers often send waves of stress through the team. Instead of encouraging growth and initiative, they can turn tasks into a chore. It's really difficult for Sigma males to feel motivated when every tiny detail is questioned, making it seem like they're being washed like a hawk. They might even feel like a child in a classroom, where the teacher is always ready to correct Sigmas instead of letting them explore and learn. Sigma men thrive in environments where they can take risks and think for themselves. If they're not allowed to do that, they're likely to feel trapped and frustrated. It's just as stifling in relationships. When one person constantly feels the need to control or monitor the other, it can destroy the foundation of trust needed for a healthy partnership. This lack of faith can make the Sigma man feel like he's not good enough or that his abilities are always being questioned. An emotional tug-of-war develops, where one is trying to assert independence while the other is trying to rein them in. It's draining and, yes, annoying. Number 6. Being interrupted while deep in thought or work. This can feel like someone just threw a rock into a calm pond. When the Sigma male is focused, everything around him fades away, and each idea flows smoothly. But then, someone barges in with a loud question, or even worse, starts talking about their day like he's not even there. It's like a sudden splash that disrupts the peaceful vibe he's created. The act of concentrating takes effort, especially when delving into complex topics or creative tasks. When that flow is broken, it can take ages to get back on track. If you're a Sigma male, you know exactly how frustrating it is to lose that momentum. You start to lose your thoughts, and your ideas might slip away like grains of sand. It's frustrating, to say the least. You might be in the middle of crafting your next big project, and suddenly, that rhythm is shattered. It feels disrespectful, as if your work is seen as less important than someone's need for attention in that moment. On top of that, constantly being interrupted keeps you from doing your best. How can you produce high-quality work when someone throws a curveball your way every few minutes? The constant disruptions create a chaotic environment that just doesn't allow for deep thought or creativity. Focus is key, and when it's broken, everything suffers. You might start feeling irritable or tense, leading to a drop in your motivation and enthusiasm. Even outside of work, when engaged in deep conversation or reflection, nudges and shouts for attention can immediately pull you from your mental space. You might find yourself zoning out or even getting upset, which can cloud your interactions with others. It's not just annoying. It's a major hindrance to productivity and inner peace.